Welcome crafty friends, Annie Collins here for Pajama Crafter Stamps. Today we're going to create this Valentine's Day card. Let's go over the products I use to create this card. We're using the Where Hope Blooms stamp set. This stamp set contains 7 images and 3 sentiments. It has this cute little kitty with the ladybug, the bunny with the butterfly. It has the floral, the ladybug, the bunny. The bunny has his own little sentiment. That's why I counted it as 3 sentiments. And we're going to be using him today. We have a little pup and 3 little chickies. Sentiments like happy spring and where flowers blooms, so does hope. We're also going to be using our Marshmallow Cardstock. I have a pack of it and I just keep using that. And this is alcohol friendly, foil friendly as well. So I've die cut my Marshmallow Cardstock using a postage die from my stash, and our little bunny is going to sit right on here. I'm going to use him with his little Hoppy male sentiment to create our card. I die cut a mini envelope from using a die from my stash on using some blush pink. It's like soft, so soft. And our little stamp will sit right on top. I have some cardstock that is a purpley color here. I'm going to say it's like a violet. And then I have my card base, some purple gems. I have also die cut some hearts in a few sizes from 2 shades of pink and 2 shades of purple. I have my embellishment wand, a jelly roll pen in white, because we'll be adding a little highlights and details. I'm going to get my stamp and move this tray out of our way so that we can get started on stamping our image. So I'm going to be coloring my image with Olo markers, which are alcohol-based markers. You can use any coloring medium you prefer. I have my frog press to help me get a nice even coverage, and I'm going to use Memento ink because I'll be using alcohol based markers. So I'm going to grab my little bunny and I'm going to center him on the little postage stamp. I'm not concerned too much that his ear that's straight up just goes outside the center of my postage, and so does his little paws. That doesn't bother me, but I'm going to try my best to keep the little area on the outside of my postage white. Everything else will have some color. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on here and stamp it. I'm going to wipe this because I wiped it with my hand and I realized I have lotion on my hands. Got it all over the stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe that, then I'll ink it up, and I'm going to, before I press it down, I like to look through the cover of the stamp press here to make sure that I am centered where I want it to be. And then I use my frog press to get nice even coverage so I have a nice crisp image. Now I can check. Perfect. Okay, here's our stamp. Like I said, his little ear and his paws just go past, but that's okay with me. I'm going to clear all this, clean my stamp, move my stamp press, and I'm going to bring in my clipboard. I like to color on my clipboard just so that if there's any ink that goes through the cardstock, it doesn't get on my desk. Trust me, there's a lot of mess on my desk, but still. Alright, so here are the colors I'm going to use. I'm going to use warm gray 1 and warm gray 3 for the bunny. For his ears, nose, cheeks, I'm going to use R0.2, which is like a blush pink. If I remember, I'll put the Copic equivalent in the description, but you know, use your warm grays and pinks accordingly. So here you can all laugh with me. I start coloring on screen. I'm doing really well. I start off with my dark warm gray 3 and I blend out with the warm gray 1, and then I slowly start going off screen. I got distracted. My husband came home for lunch, started talking to him, and then I realized, oh no, I'm off screen. So I shift back up, and now you can see I've just did the same thing. Warm gray 3 for my edges to create my shadows, and then blend out with warm gray 1. Nose, cheeks, and inner ears got the R0.2, which is that really soft pink. So now I'm going to work on the ears, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just putting the darker gray where the shadows are and where I think it would be the darkest, and then I blend that out with the lighter warm gray, which is the warm gray 1. I want him to be a nice, really soft, pale bunny. So I'm not going to go back and put too much emphasis on this because I want that pastel-y soft color. All right, I'm going to add a little detail above his nose just to put emphasis on a cute little puffy nose. You don't have to do that. That's a me thing. But if you like to do that, I just do little squigglies above his nose just to create an emphasis of the nose is there, like a little arch. All right, or a bridge, because the bridge of his nose. And then I did for his belly, I just used the warm gray 1, no shadowing whatsoever. So for his little sign that says Hoppy Mail, I'm going to use a nice pale purple. So BV 1.1, which is a blue violet. I just want that nice soft purpley color to bring in some of the purple that we have as for our background. For the sky, I went with the palest blue I have here, which is B 2.0. You could barely see it, I know. I didn't want blue competing with anything because I just have mostly purples and pinks on this card. So I went with this really, really pale blue. I outlined the bunny and then and the outer edge, because remember, I don't want the edge to be colored. I want to keep that white. So I outlined that, and then I just do little swirls to color it in, using the side of my marker so that the nip stays nice and, crisp. So I use the side of my marker, and there you go. I mean, you can barely see it. In real life, you can see it. Since my lights have to be so bright, for the video, it kind of washes it out. All right, so I've zoomed back out so that we can start putting our card together. Let me grab all the rest of the components, which is my card base, the layered background, and the envelope and hearts. But before we do that, I'm going to add little highlights to our bunny with the white gel pen. I put a little highlight on his flopped over ear, his cheeks I did 3 little dots, a little dot on his nose, and that's it. Nothing major, just little dots here and there. So I'm going to pop him up. So I'm going to put some foam tabs on the back of him. He's ready to go. Set him to the side. Let me clear my markers, which are rolling all over my desk. All right, so I'm going to grab my Barely Art glue, and I'm just going to adhere the envelope together. I just put a little glue on each of those smaller flaps, and then I press up. Now, I used a die. You don't have a die that creates an envelope? You can make a small envelope using 6x6 paper or cardstock. Put it in diagonal and fold the sides in and the bottom up. And just like it will look just like an envelope. You can cut any little edges to make it fold flat. You're not really going to use it as an envelope per se, so you can get away with it looking a little wonky on the bottom, but you get the idea. It's super easy. You can make it if you don't have a die, is my point. All right, so I'm going to, now that I've closed the bottom so it doesn't keep opening on me, I'm going to adhere the little envelope onto our cardstock background. And I did use a die to cut my cardstock. It's just a simple die from my stash, nothing major. And I'm going to adhere that, leaving a 1/4 of an inch around of my card base, which is a white card base. I adjust my envelope, and now I'm going to tuck all these little hearts behind, coming out of the envelope behind my little bunny. So I keep bringing the bunny over to make sure I have the proper placement, because I want to make sure that you can see the hearts coming out of the envelope. So I'm just going to alternate them between the pinks and the purples here, and just adhere them down. I'm not popping any of these up because I'm popping the bunny up and I want the focus to be on the bunny. So now that I have an idea of the background's pretty full with the bigger ones, bigger envelopes, bigger hearts, I'm going to remove the backing from all this foam, and then I'm going to line up my bunny. Now, the envelope is tilted, but the bunny is straight. That's what I want, so that he's looking nice and even at you. And then I'll just keep filling in all the little areas with the hearts, just tucking them there and then bursting out. He's just hopping by to give you lots of loving, which is, I mean, this little image is so cute. All right, so we have our last little ones here, and now in my tray I have two little resin hearts. One is like a pearly purple, and the other one is just a tiny little resin pale purple. One is a darker purple, one's a lighter purple. Hearts. They're just to give some cute dimension to that. And then I'm going to bring in some gems in this purpley color to emphasize, you know, keep within that theme. So I'm going to grab my embellishment wand to help me here. Now this embellishment wand has, one side has the wax nib and the other side has the little pointy nib. I use the pointy nib to help me peel up the gems from the little carrier sheet, because otherwise we'd be here all day me trying to pick them off. So the wand, the pointy nib, helps for that. All right, we have one more to place, I believe, towards the top, and we're done. This is me deciding, do I want to put more or not? And then I say self-control. All right, so here's our finished card. I love that the little bunny fits perfectly into the postage area. Again, I used a die for the envelope, but you can make one yourself out of 6x6 paper. I'll have to do that another time on screen for you to show you how simple it is. We used the Where Hope Blooms stamp set, the Marshmallow Cardstock. Thank you for being here. I hope you found some inspiration.